I was kicked out of the comfort zone when I worked in a bank for a very long time. I worked in the investment sector for a very long time. I knew so much about investments. I mean, ask me what share to buy. I knew it like the back of my hand. I could tell you all the statistics with shares. I never bought a single share for myself because the 24th was there. I worked at CFC Stanbic. My last job was at CFC Stanbic. The 24th was there. Bankers in the room, you know about the 24th, right? The 24th was there, and it used to be so bad that on the 23rd, me and my colleagues would go somewhere where we knew there's an ATM, because on the 23rd midnight, it was so automatic, there'd be money. So you rack up a bill and then go to the ATM to get money to pay the bill. So that's how we were operating. Now, when I went into business, I had all illusions about business. Can anyone relate about having this idea how business should operate? Rude shock. There was no 24th of the month. And I think that's when I started my comfort zone. I was kicked out of the comfort zone. I started evaluating certain habits. And then I realized life is not as what I knew. I knew so much, but there was no action behind it. And knowledge without action, there's really no point at the end of the day. So I started, I was the first Centonomy student, by the way. So I started evaluating my own habits. And then my first business, which for me was a key learning, not just for myself, but I started talking to other people and realizing we're in the same boat. And I figured it can't just be like this. Something has got to change. So I started working on myself. I started working with other people. I started doing things very informally. I started talking to people about money. I realized money is not though it is a subject we should have been taught in school. I don't know about you, and no offense to any chemists that may be in the room, honestly, that periodic table has never helped me. Yeah? Had you taught me about expenses and budgeting, I think I would have been much further off, yeah? So the education system now, like, this should have been taught in school. And a lot of, I don't know if you find that a lot of life skills are not taught in school. Things you actually need: nutrition, health, relationships. I think marriage counseling should start at standard 1, yeah? So I just started questioning a lot of things about money. I made it a point to start studying the behaviors of people who have made money. And for me, I don't stand here because I'm perfect. And I think when I started doing this, my challenge was, I'm going to teach people about money, yet I have all of 200 shillings in my bank account, yeah? But I was like, there are lessons out there. The more I teach, the more I learn. People go and teach other people. And that's how Centonomy came. So I moved away, made a very strategic decision. I am not going to manage money for people anymore. I'm going to teach them. And as I learn, I share. If I have to be corrected, so be it. So Centonomy started 2009. When we first started, we used to do like one-day workshops. Yeah, so we'd go get people together for a day. We'd work with institutions sometimes that would sponsor these days and take people through learning from about 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock. And then we realized it was like, have you ever gone to a concert and then after the concert, you're so excited about the music, you go buy the CD. And then 3 months later, where is that CD? You never listened to it. So we revised the program to become about, let people sit in, and this is why you're here. Someone has told you that they've come for that program, you've heard it on radio, you've read the articles, etc. This is why you're here today. We changed it into an 11-week course where people come once a week, and I'll tell you more about the course at the end of today. And that way, we've seen a lot of transformation. So today, what I really want to leave us with, yeah, and it's important, as all this negative information is around us, to start actually looking at ourselves and asking yourself, what am I going to do about my own life? There are things I can't control, but what am I actually going to do? So the one area, do you agree that we feel it's out of control, is money? It's out of control. Sometimes how we are spending it, we feel we have no control. Yeah, yes, you can tell me to stop spending, but Are you telling my husband? Are you telling my wife? Are you telling my mother, my father the same thing? So we feel we're out of control, right? Then another area we feel we're totally out of control is how we earn. We think, and we have bought into the false illusion that someone else should dictate how much money you earn. And today I really, really want you to question that. So I look at these experiences very retrospectively now. But have you had those instances in your life where it doesn't have to do with money? It could be a situation where when you look back, it has stuck in your memory and you are kind of proud of how you handled it. You took control. Do you have an experience like that? It could have been when you were 7 years old or 10. It could have been you stopped the neighbor bullying you and you took your bike back. Do you have one of those experiences? And for some reason, they've always stuck in your head. Do you? Well, I have two. When science, as you may have noticed from what I'm saying, was never my favorite subject in school. And, biology, standard 6, it wasn't called just science at that time. Yes, I was always going to be bottom 3 in class, and I knew it. Yeah? So, and those days, those teachers were ruthless. They hand your exams according to how you have passed, starting with the one who got 100%, ending with the one who got 15, right? They were ruthless, yeah? So, I'd come to accept, I'll always be the bottom 3. I'll always get my paper last. But one day, and I kind of felt I was the blot in class, and I accepted it, right? But one day something just hit me, and I'm like, imagine, I have to test it out. Am I really stupid? So I knew the science teacher came and told us there's a test the next day. And I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to pass, just to prove to myself, once and for all, am I stupid or not? Yeah? So I went home, I didn't even talk, hardly ate dinner, and I crammed. In the morning, I didn't even want to talk because I was scared that if I talk, the information will leave the brain, yeah? So it was like, good morning. Yeah, one of those things. But I aced it. And even the teacher came to the class that day, and I'll never forget. He said, the Bible says, the last shall be first. And I was first. Then I was like, oh, I'm not stupid. Now, you guys are all waiting for the end of the story where that prompted me to go out and achieve success in my academics and get an A. No. I was like, all I wanted to prove to myself, I was not stupid. But then I went back and relaxed and swiftly dropped back to my position of comfort where I'm being given the paper last, yeah? But I think that day it hit me. It's not that I'm stupid. It's that I've made a choice. I try to study science, I fall asleep. But I know if I really wanted to, I can do it. And sometimes it's the same thing with money. There are choices we are making, but we are comfortable in those choices. And today you'll hear speakers who will come and tell you about the choices they have made, and they were comfortable in those choices. So at least I knew I was not stupid. It was just a choice. And even as I was failing, as my parents were talking to me about how they were first in school, everyone's parents were first in school, right? You wonder whose parents were second, yeah? Because if all parents were first, but I was like, I imagine I just don't like the subject. There's some subjects I'm doing okay, but this is just not one of them. And sorry, I don't. But then it hit me, I had a choice. But I lived with my choices. I was an average student and I lived with that. Now, the next experience about taking control was when I went to study. I did my second degree in Australia. And for those of you who've gone to school out of the country, you know how hard it is to get a formal job, yeah? We do the casual work, which I did. I washed dishes, very excellent experience. I worked in factories. But one day I was like, you know what? What's up with this job? Of course, first of all, you're a foreigner in the country, so that's not working for you. And we were not allowed to work more than 20 hours a week. But I was like, I'm going to give it my best shot. So I'd go for interviews. And there's one Okay, some of the interviews I never made it past the first stage, so I didn't get to hang up on it. There's one interview it was me and someone else, and they called me and said, you're not getting the job, we're choosing the other person because you're not a permanent resident of Australia. Then again, I continued, and this time they didn't even tell me there was someone else. The person hiring me told me, I want to hire you, but my hands are tied. You're not a permanent resident of Australia, you're not legally allowed to work. He put down the phone. He called me. I put down the phone. I don't know if you've ever had an out-of-body experience where you're watching someone who's not you, but it's you. I called him. Had not even prepared what I'm going to say. I put down the phone, and then 20 seconds later, I picked it up and I pressed redial. And I can't remember what exactly I told him, but I convinced them to give me the job. It was more in line of just pay me for the 20 hours that you're allowed to pay me. I'll still work 40 hours. Then in the holidays, when we're legally allowed to work more hours, we sort it out. And you can even throw me a plane ticket back home as a way of compensating why you've not paid me. He just told me, come to the office with your passport, and in the next week, I was working. But every time I found myself in a position of I think things are out of my control, I go back to that moment. Because sometimes life can tell you no, and there's so much bad information all around, but the choice to how you react is whose? It's you. You have the choice to pick up the phone, even though you've been told no, and argue your way out. Yeah, and that's just a metaphor. It's for anything that we face, including especially money. That's the way we need to look at it, because there's so many reasons. If we sat here and I told you the open day was about how we can't make money, will you come? Yeah, because you already know that answer, right? All the reasons why you can't make money. But it just taught me, sometimes I can be told no, but sometimes maybe life is testing how committed you are to the purpose. And you have to show that commitment. Don't wait to be discovered. It's you to actually show it. And even though I had been told no, it would have prepared me for the next phone call, right? So there's a student in our last class who put it very well. He said, even when you fail forward. You always learn something. Ironically, losing 100,000 shillings brings you closer to 1 million shillings. Yeah, and you'll see that today. So this journey, as I started Centonomy, what I just want to share with you what actually are the key things that I've actually learned. One, I'm not perfect, as I said, but I teach what I believe and I teach what I'm convicted about. I teach what I try to practice. I teach what I see is working with other people. We don't teach theory. Yeah? We teach what you can actually go home and actually practice. I've learned there are many people who have unique gifts, unique talents, and unique abilities. But we have been told the way to make money is to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, all these professions, right? And even the way you do it. But there's someone sitting with an idea. They have something very unique about them, but they're waiting to have 10 million shillings to buy an apartment in Kileleshwa. But they know how to design something and they're not using that. So this journey has taught me, be who you are. Use what is uniquely yours and take time to understand it. And it's what we usually refer to as non-financial assets. We really underestimate the inherent gifts that as a person you are born with. And I'd like to encourage you to start looking at that and seeing how you can actually use it. I learned very many people know how to make money. Very many people know how to make money. But fewer know how to keep it. Because keeping money is about more than just the money, it's about character. So character can make money, money can't make character. And whenever you allow your character to be molded by money, whether the situation is whether you have or don't have, there's a problem and that money will not be sustained. Ever wonder why people win the lottery? How long does that money last? Not long, right? It's because the money came very quickly, the character didn't. So the character is, even if you don't have money today, the best place to start to work is in your character. And when you're on a mission to create wealth, be sure the first place that will be tested is your character. Yeah. I learned the more you share, the more you learn. I learned in the right environment, and we seek to create that environment. Money is just as exciting as the other topics. Football, yes. Money can be as exciting as football. Fashion, sports, music, whatever we like to talk about, money is just as an exciting a topic in the right environment. Guess which environment money is not exciting? When we are out there in sometimes our usual groups and we're talking about, oh, the government this, oh, my employer this, oh, my doctor's bills are so high, and oh, I'm so broke, oh, inflation, oh, I'm not getting a salary increase because of inflation. Has it helped you, that conversation? It makes money a bad topic, but money is a good topic. But we have to challenge, we have to put it, just like a seed needs to be put in the right environment to grow. Because with money, you're starting to develop a relationship. That relationship also needs to be put in the right environment to grow. The results we have seen with people, the people you will hear today, are actually beyond what we can take credit for. I think we are just, we are a vehicle that people come and they think more, but I've also learned along the way, when faith meets action, when you start putting a bit of action, God meets you there. Yes, we can pray, God, please get me out of my debt, and as you're saying that prayer, what are you doing? Get me out of my debt as you are queuing up to pay your cable TV. You know, imagine, just I'm not God, but imagine what he's seeing. What is God seeing with that? You're praying, the answer is right in front of you. Cut cable TV, use that money, pay down your debt. Or I've given you a skill that you can convert into a money-generating activity. So we have to be courageous to take that first action and just trust. Life has a way of starting to open you up to resources that will assist you in the journey. They do not assist you on the bench. Like you were to go to Mombasa by bus. How do we get to Mombasa? We can plan on Mombasa. We can even know which bus is going to take us there. But how do we actually get there? Isn't it by getting onto the bus? Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah, there's no quick formula. It's just that take the action, get onto the bus, and then in the bus you will learn what you need to do, or you will attract the resources of what you need to do. And I'll boldly tell you, this course has transformed lives. I can now proudly say that. Maybe the first season we did this, we'll be registering people for season 11 of our course. We've just graduated 220 people in season 10. The course has had over 1,000 graduates, and their lives have transformed. I have seen it. So I'll boldly tell you, but the decision is up to you. Do you want to do something different with your life? Do you want to take control? So I'll boldly tell you, attend the class. From what I've seen, and myself included, it's about starting to know that you are in control. And that is an experience everybody should have in their lives of I can actually control it. So I just want to share with you a few pictures, a few slides to just start putting this thought in your mind. Control is a power to influence the course of events in your life. And now this is you've heard of the rat race, yeah? But this is often what we start thinking. I'll work harder, because happiness is just around the corner, right? Yeah, then you work harder. Then you earn more money, but now you're thinking, when I earn more money, that's when happiness is around the corner, correct? Then I'm earning more money, but let me buy things, because when I buy things, and there's this magic place where we think if I have all these things, right, then happiness is around the corner, right? Then I buy the things, then I just keep going again, then I'm back to, I've bought things, but since there's always a bigger thing to buy, I need more money, and I need to work harder, then buy more things. But even though you buy the latest Range Rover have not gone to bed. There's still a bigger one they're coming up with. So this is it's actually, the rat race is not so much financial as it is mental. Thinking, I get there when I buy the things. Instead of starting to look at where we are, what needs to change, what are your values, and take control of that situation now. First thing we have to control is how we think. Just look at this picture. No direction, just look at the picture. How many red cars were there? Yeah? Okay, that's usually how we look at life. We're just looking. We are observers. We're not focused. Right? So let me go back. Count how many red cars there are. How many yellow cars are there? So there's one person I think was the right answer. 5. But this is it. Remember when you bought your first car? Remember when you bought your first car? When you decided that's, not even before you pay for it, when you decided that's the car I want, what did you see on the road? That car. You're like, imagine everyone had the thought, and there's a container that landed from Japan instantly with that car. But that car was always on the road. Information, resources, networks, people who can assist you in creating wealth, time is there, you just have to focus. Because if you're looking for the red car, you will see the red car. If you are all about why it cannot happen, and I am trusting because you are here today, in spite of all the negative news that happened yesterday, you are here today. So you've gone beyond looking at the red car. Yeah? So sometimes, but with money, our conversation, our thinking is all about why we cannot do it, not why we can do it. So we have to first change the thinking. Yeah? Sometimes we even think money is bad. The rich, what did the rich do to get money? Bad things, they stole. So if all you think, it's so ironic, you want to make money, at the same time you think the rich stole. So a part of you may not realizing is almost stepping away from the money because you actually think the way to getting rich is stealing. But if you don't believe that, you will find so many people who are willing to share with you information on how to create wealth, and their method is not theft. So we do not teach class 1 Centonomy. Let me assure you, we do not teach how to get money, the art of theft. Yeah, no, we do not have a class like that. But what you focus on, you will see. What you focus on will become your reality. Yeah, apart from a few people, did you see any other color when I told you look at the red car? Maybe, but it was in the back of your mind, yeah? So what you are listening to, who you're talking to, what you are reading has a big part to play in this. We cannot do this. Mentally shrink into greatness. We want big things, but we want to talk small. We want to be small. And even if you're doing well, and maybe you're doing great at your job, you have a great career going, when someone asks you, how are things, what do you say? Okay, we are surviving. And we've been taught that actually saying things are good is a bad thing. That person is boasting. But when you say things are good, you don't realize how much you're empowering someone else. You say things are good, you're like, I'm curious to hear why they are good. If you are wealthy, don't pretend to be poor. You're not helping anyone by shrinking into or denying what you can do, what you have. If you have a skill to offer, talk about it boldly. Yeah. The second thing we need to control is how we spend. Does this mean you're rich? Does this mean you're rich? No. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to have. We just don't want to mistake material things for wealth. It's okay if you want to have it. I'm the last person to tell you if this is what you want to do, get it. But there's one thing, the car, my assets are funding the car, or I'm now working for the car. When you go and buy this car, and then you go park it outside your rented apartment, is it time to evaluate your priorities? Perhaps. Just all that I'm doing is I'm not against the car, but at what point in your life? And why? It's the motive behind the car. How many people, if God decided we are robots, as in apart from you, everyone is a robot, and the infrastructure works, by the way. You can go to the bank, it's a robot. You can go to the shop, it's a robot. The askari at the gate is a robot, as in they cannot emotionally react to your car. Would you buy the car? If there's no one to they don't care whether you came in a bicycle or you came driving this car. You and someone in a bicycle, the watchman gives you the same parking. What would you do? Would you buy it? Is there anyone who would buy it? Me. Because if I want to drive this car, it's about me, and one day in my life, I would want to have the experience in my car. Just for me, in the car, playing with the gadgets, experiencing the comfort for me, not because someone else is seeing me. If your motive is about, I wouldn't buy it because someone else is not there to see me, I'd like you to start thinking about the motives when you are buying things. So the car is not the problem, it's the motive. Because if the motive is about other people, when I buy this car, I get attention for how long? 5 days. And then, even say a month, and then, to get the same attention, what do I have to do? Buy another one. So it becomes I'm now doing things because of other people. But if it's just about you and in your life you have decided you want to experience that car, there is nothing wrong. But when you're dealing with the second point, as in I'm doing it because it's something I value, you're not bound, you're not going to go take a big debt that is burdening you. Yeah, you will probably do it in the right time of your lives. Make sense? So don't be controlled by other people's opinion. You control what you want. You decide what you actually want. A little money is not so little. This is why we want to control how much we spend. This is the first thing I learned, and I always share this when I get a chance to speak, is lunch. Lunch money. How much do we spend on lunch every day? 200, 300. There's someone there who whispered like a little 500, like they didn't want to be heard. Yeah? 300 shillings in a month. Let's do 300 times 30. And we know Saturday and Sunday the lunch is not 300 bob. We know. So I'm being kind, right? 300 times 30, 9,000. 9,000 times 12, 108,000. So, no, I'm not saying don't eat lunch, but your alternative is carrying food from home. So, 100,008, you're given, you know that painful period of December 31st, when you've blown through the money, and you're getting paid, and even in business, you know no clients are coming in until the end of January, yeah? Imagine if you're given 108,000 shillings. What can you do with 108? You can pay that school fees, right? That school fees where we pretend our children are a surprise. Yeah? Ooh, school fees, they were there. High school fees, a surprise, yeah? Maybe I don't value eating lunch every day, so which one can I cut? So, the holidays is lunch. Why we need to be the ones to control what we spend is this. Remember this phone? Yeah? Becomes that. So, back to what I was saying before, if I'm waiting when I can buy all these things I've always wanted to have is when I'll do this boring thing of saving, investing, etc. Yeah? What's the latest Samsung? It's 5. Yeah? Now, when I get the S5, that's it. That's it. I'll attend Centonomy after that. Yeah? Or I'll save, or I'll invest, or that's when I'll start paying school fees without going on a loan, when I get the S5, yeah? Do you think Samsung are waiting for Washeke to get the S5 and then they close down shop and say, our mission on earth has been accomplished, she finally bought the S5? No, they're coming up with the S6. So once I get it, I'll want the S6. So it's a never-ending cycle because the companies are never going to stop producing things that we can buy. A case in point is Michael Jackson. Yeah? He's rich or dead. But when he was alive, he blew billions of dollars. That shows you, if you are willing to spend, the world is going to give you places to spend. So where you take back control is deciding what you are going to spend. So it's not, when we talk about planning your money or budgeting, it is not a restrictive process. It's a process about giving you choice. Yeah. These are just something I found on the net, but these are brands. Jaguar, you can see Mercedes, whatever. Organized crime. Yeah. Organized crime is this. There's always something, isn't it? There's always something they're throwing in our face that we can buy, right? So, I found the problem. We earn money 5 days a week, but we spend money 7 days a week. It is so true. I want you to divide your net monthly income. Just do it right now on your phones. Net monthly income. Even in business, just what comes to you roughly in a month, divided by the number of hours you work in a month. So if you work 8 days a week, times 5, that's 40 hours a week. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, times 4, roughly 160 hours a month. I want you to get your hourly rate. What is your going rate per hour? Your financial rate per hour. If you're those consultants who charge per hour, that's you. Are you happy with it? Are you cheap or expensive? Everyone has it. At least if you live with nothing today, just know your financial rate per hour. You all have it? How long does it take you to spend it? Do you even take an hour? Do you take an hour to spend that money? You take an hour to earn it. And think about we all know the hardest time to be at work is Monday between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Yeah? You take an hour to earn it. How long does it take you to spend it? Faster, right? You go buy lunch with it without thinking. The next time you're looking at that pair of shoes, I want you to calculate how many hours of work it takes you to earn that pair of shoes. And then that's when you can make a true decision of whether you really want it. But the fact is, many times we are spending money faster than we are earning it. Time and money have a very direct correlation. Yeah? So start understanding, what's my time? How can I actually use it? Yeah? Did that calculation scare you a bit? Good. The last thing is, this is where people don't believe they can. And this is the most powerful thing. We can, and in Centonomy, we'll teach you to know where your money is going. We'll teach you how to buy. We'll never enforce anything on you, but at the very least, even if you decide you're not changing anything, we want you to know where your money is going. But the next, even more important thing is we want you to control what you are earning. Because I may cut expenses for 1 year. Next year, if I'm not earning more money, is it realistic that I'll cut expenses further? So what we try to do is to push you to start thinking, how do I earn more? And that's going back to, first of all, the reasons why you have to take this responsibility is understanding what your life will cost. Because there's something, let's talk about our lifestyles. What affects our lifestyles every year or every day with some items? Inflation. Today, if I'm spending 100,000 shillings on my life, in 10 years, because of inflation, I will need around 400,000 every month, if I've not changed everything. So if I go to the supermarket and buy goods worth 100,000, so I buy goods worth 100,000, there's a certain place I live, there's a certain type of car I drive, so there's the fuel. To mimic that same exact lifestyle in 400,000, in 10 years, I will need 400,000 shillings. So I cannot plan for 100,000. This is why you must take control. Do you honestly want to leave this responsibility to your employer? Do you? Do you want to leave it to your clients? It has to be you becoming very conscious of what you are doing to start increasing your income generating activity. And the question is always, what are you going to do about it? So number one, I may say next year, I need to push my earning ability in my job. Again, what do you do to do that? I must exceed expectations. I must make myself known to certain people, no more hiding in the background. I must improve my skills. I must show initiative. So go and question, even if your earning ability is through your job, what do you do to keep pushing that boundary on your income? You can't expect a salary increase because of inflation. And you can't do the bare minimum at work, go, and then you're told you're lucky we're not firing you because you've been on Facebook the entire year. Yeah? So we have to, when I say take control, it's about I am the one consciously thinking about the action I am taking to get me where I am. It's not about sitting there and hoping they'll see my hidden talents and hidden qualities and hidden potential and give me an increase in income. If you're in business, the same principle applies. It's what am I doing to increase the earnings of my business so that it can pay me more? What are you consciously doing? I'm not here to blame the economy. Do we live in a perfect world? No, we don't. We obviously don't. But it's always back to what am I going to do about it for the kind of life I've decided I want to have and the kind of life that I want my children to have and the goals and the things in life I want to experience. If you want to travel the world, no one is stopping you. It's not for a certain group of people. It's just you to decide what you're actually going to do about it. So, and that's what I really, as you're listening today, what really want you to start hearing about people who we are happy have graduated from our program, but through this and even other things we were doing before, are taking control of where it is. And I think what I want us to remove is the myth of it's a certain group of people who are born into a certain type of miraculous parents who are just all positive with what they told them, or a certain type of background or a certain type of school. No, it's people like me and you every day. People even who don't even have what you have around us that have been able to step out of their comfort zones and create wealth.